Many parents want their children to be not shaken in mind. They want to help increase the security in their children. And I agree, now is the time more than ever before. I'm Nicholeen Peck. I teach parenting, good communication, family relationship building all over the world through the lens of self-government. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about helping your children develop more security. Are you aware that in the year 2020, depression and anxiety rates increased by more than 25%, according to studies? That is horrible. So we definitely are having what I call an anxiety epidemic. In fact, I have a whole other video on it as well. In this video, what I would like to talk about is what we can do about the problem. There's a lot of reasons that people are struggling with anxiety right now and depression and a lot of things that especially children are facing when past generations didn't face. So in this video, let's talk about a little bit about what they're facing, and let's talk about what we can do about it so that they can have more security in these very uncertain times. In 2020, so many of the children of the world came home. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. In fact, some families really capitalized on it. They strengthened their relationships and they brought their hearts of the family members closer together. In fact, some people were like, wow, we're going to just keep homeschooling. We're going to just keep this family unity train rolling. But some people did not have that circumstance. Some people, their children came home and there was more isolation. People were getting more into digital and technology because the school was online and the peers were online and everything was online. And so the relationships actually became more distant. Maybe some of those families didn't have the pieces in place to begin with to strengthen the families during that time of crisis. Maybe that was part of the problem. I don't know. But anyway, it happened. And children and parents started feeling an increase of anxiety, fear, depression, stuff like that. But children, usually they just go out into the world and they're like, yay, I can just conquer anything. And that's kind of the child, normal type of thought processes, because that's developmentally normal for most children. They may fear a thing here and there, but for the most part, they just try things and they experiment. But now we have a lot of children not wanting to try things and not wanting to experiment. I see this all the time because I'm part of a youth ministry at my church and I work with youth. And there are oftentimes multiple youth that do not want to try a new thing. And it might not even be that hard of a new thing. They just don't want to try something that's unknown. And they feel higher levels of increased anxiety. This is hard for them to work through. And I've seen that they really need some coaching to be able to make it through these times. So let's talk about what we can do as parents to help our children prepare for new circumstances, for handling disappointments, upsets, and depression so that they don't have to have problems with depression and anxiety forever in their future. Now, before I get to some of my solutions, I do want to just bring to your attention that it has become popular to have anxiety. In fact, many young girls will get together and they will discuss their anxiety medications. Which medicine are you on? Which medicine are you on? And if a person isn't on a medication, then they actually feel like they might get left out. And they try to develop some form of anxiety just so that they can get on a medication to somehow feel something, just somehow be part of a group. This is a very dangerous thing to happen. So as we are normalizing anxiety instead of trying to overcome it, then we are really creating a possible social ill for our children in their upbringing. So we need to be very careful about that. Now, here's the thing with anxiety. Everybody can have anxiety. Literally, there is probably not one person in the world that doesn't get the opportunity to feel or experience anxiety once or twice at least. Now, there's moments of anxiety or stress, and then there's perpetual anxiety. But most people, even many of the people who are on medications, just have certain moments that trigger them to feel anxiety. But you can work through those things, and I know that because I've worked with many youth in my home home. I did level 3 treatment care for a lot of years, helping youth handle anxiety. And so I would teach them ways that they could think through those moments so that they didn't have to be triggered to have anxiety every single time. This doesn't mean that some person might not have a harder time with anxiety than others. They could. And we have to be sensitive to that because anxiety is real. But we do need to try to liberate people so that they don't get stuck thinking that that has to be the way their life is forever, because it doesn't. There are things that people can do. So what can you do to increase security for your child so that they don't have as much anxiety? Let's talk about that. But before we do, click the subscribe button now, because there are a lot of great videos on this channel that you will probably want to watch after this one, but also that come out on a regular basis, all related to self-government, and they will help with the anxiety problems as well. So click subscribe now. There are multiple things that you can do to help increase your child's security while decreasing their anxiety, which will help them not be so shaken in their minds. Number one thing is help them understand who they are. Do you know that you can tell them that as a parent? You can say, "You are my daughter. You are my son." My parents always told me, "You are a child of God." This was a truth that I could hold on to because we were religious people. So that was something that they told me. They helped me know what it meant to be part of their family. We learned about the genealogy of our ancestors. They made sure I knew my grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins. All of these people would help me know better who I was. Knowing who you are is super important. So understanding who you are in the family is called understanding your role in the family. There's actually a book that I have written about that called Roles: The Secret to Family, Business, and Social Success. This book is a story that you can read with your children to help them understand their roles in the family, your roles in the family, so that everybody can have their roles in the right place and have full function. If the family roles are not happening properly, then the family will end up having dysfunction. When I say roles, don't misunderstand me. I'm not talking about who makes dinner or who goes to work. Those are responsibilities. Anyone can do those things. But who a father is to his children and who a mother is to her children will always be the same role, okay? So you need to understand what that really means. Another thing that you can do to increase security for your child is to discuss more. Have more open conversation and open discussion. So see the things that are happening around you, things in current events, things in their studies, stories from your past. All of these things are things that you can discuss more deeply. Read to your children, discuss it deeply. Talk about why you are going to communicate certain ways. Discuss more deeply. And as you see people have bad communication or bad problem solving, bring it to their attention. I will always remember when a Star Wars movie came out. It was the movie that had the first one that had Kylo Ren in it. And people started contacting me saying, "Nicholeen, my children were just watching the new Star Wars movie and they said, 'Oh, Kylo Ren is not accepting a no answer, Dad.'" And he said, "I had to tell you because I wanted you to know that my children could see misbehavior from someone else and recognize which skill that person needed because of teaching self-government, because we taught them the skill how to accept no answers." So Kylo Ren was not having a face, voice, and body, and he was definitely not dropping the subject, which are 2 of the 4 steps in accepting a no answer. When you discuss deeply with your child and you help them learn more, then they can have more awareness, which gives them more confidence, and they can decode what's happening in the world. This next tip is a big one. If you want your child to be confident, to feel secure and not have as much anxiety, then you need to not overreact. Don't overreact. You need to be able to be calm. This is important. If you are calm, then your children will learn that it's okay to make a mistake. One of the things that brings a child the most anxiety is recognizing that someone was disappointed in them, or that they made a mistake that made someone else feel emotional. You cannot choose to feel emotional just because someone else made a mistake. So the thing that you can do is learn calmness. And at the end of this video, I'm going to give you a free gift that can help. Another tip for helping with security with the children is teach them problem solving. In my course, my Teaching Self-Government Parenting course, I teach a problem solving exercise called SODAs. It's an acronym that stands for Situation, Options, Disadvantages, Advantages, Solutions. So we regularly talk about situations that occur or might occur. Think of our options, plan out what disadvantages and advantages we need to be aware of for each of those options, and then decide which solution or which option we choose and why. This helps a person be more confident in their decisions and in their problem solving with upcoming problems. Also, planning together as a family in family meetings, personal mentor sessions, parent counseling sessions. These are all things that I teach in my Teaching Self-Government course, and they help your child be prepared to solve problems. Another skill that's really vital is a skill I talk about all the time, which is disagreeing appropriately. When a person learns to disagree appropriately, then that person is more equipped to solve problems with another person. If you want your child to have more security in tough situations, then what you're really wanting is for them to step out of their comfort zone. In order for them to see stepping out of their comfort zone is safe and okay, then you need to set the example and step out of your comfort zone too. When parents step out of their comfort zones, then children see that it's safe and okay, even desirable, to step out of their comfort zones too. So, what do you need to step out of your comfort zone about? Do you need to speak up more about certain issues? Do you need to reach out in service to other people? Do you need to choose to be calm and say okay instead of get emotional? That might be out of your comfort zone initially, but you can learn to do that too. So set the example for your children and they'll step out of their comfort zones as well. Children, if they're going to feel secure, need to be bonded deeply to parents. Many parents don't recognize that broken bonds with their child could be contributing to a sense of insecurity and increased levels of anxiety. If you want to be a true leader for your children and you want to make sure that they are not shaken inside, then they need to know they can always rely upon you to be you, and that you will always be there for them. That bond must be tight and close. This means that you consistently teach, you consistently praise, and you consistently correct the problems too. You make sure that you do the things that you are supposed to do according to your role as teacher and leader in their lives. Your children rely upon their connection to you to feel like the world is a safe and okay place. All kinds of things could happen around them. Things could fall apart politically and socially, but if they are united in the family bonds, then they will feel strong, empowered, and like they can be okay no matter what happens. We must give that to them. One of the key ways that we bond with them is through our tone or feeling that we carry. One of the most important tone elements for a person who's wanting to have self-government is the tone element of calmness. Since you have stayed to the end of this video, I would like to give you a gift, and that is my Calm Parenting Toolkit. In the description below this video, there is a link to the Calm Parenting Toolkit. The link says teachselfgov.com/toolkit. Click on that link now and you will get my 10-lesson Calm Parenting Toolkit for free. And you know what? Just do the toolkit right now. It's not really that long. And you will get key things that you need to improve your relationship today. Sure, it's just a beginning to your self-government journey, but it's a great beginning and you will start to see things in a new light. So click on the link to the Calm Parenting Toolkit now and I will see you there.